How many of you have set goals for the new year? How many of you are looking at 2020 and saying to yourself, you know what, I really want to do some New Year's resolutions this year. I really want to be successful in achieving those New Year's resolutions. And how many of those goals and resolutions that you are thinking about involve your dogs and involve the condition and health and fitness of your dogs? I can tell you one thing, I no longer call them New Year's resolutions because because just of all the hype with just New Year's resolutions, we tend to not even think of them as very serious, and we tend not to achieve them because it's more kind of almost like a joke as to whether we're going to achieve them or not. And generally, more often than not, we don't. So I don't call them New Year's resolutions. I find other names that I am going to be able to put to the goals that I have based on what the goals are. So let's say, for example, I have goals that are just going to be quarterly. So I might say, hey, this is my winter goal, and this is my summer goal, and this is my spring goal, and this is my fall goal. Or this is my swimming in the lake goal for my dog in July. So I have a specific name for my goal setting. It just makes it more personable for me. And I tend to be more apt to achieve those goals if I've actually put a little bit of time into what am I going to call them. So I'm not just going to call them goals. I'm not going to call them New Year's resolutions. I'm going to say to myself, you know what? I have a winter goal, and I have a spring goal, and I have a summer goal, and I have a fall goal. And I tend to be much more successful in completing those when I put a little bit of time into naming something. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Is the new year is almost here. We have a brand new year that's starting, that we can have some really, really awesome time and setting goals and getting our dogs in much better condition and much better shape for the year 2020. What are your goals with your dog, and how can we best achieve them? So setting the goals is one thing, but how do we best achieve those canine fitness goals for our dogs? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. My name is Angie Falsick. I am the owner of Positive Canine, and one of my big passions is helping you guys reach those canine fitness goals with your dogs. Whether you have a sport dog or a working dog, how do we get those dogs prepped for competition? How do we get them in the best possible shape so that they can perform at their top peak performance? How do we get our active companion dogs to be safe and in good condition so when they're jumping for those frisbees and out swimming in the lake, that we can keep them safe and keep them in good condition? And maybe we have some puppies and some senior dogs and some lower active pet dogs. Those dogs need a fitness program as well. It just needs to be tailored to their lifestyle as well as yours. We want all of these dogs to live longer, healthier, happier lives. If you are here live with me tonight, let me know that you're here. Say hello, put your name in the comment, and let me know, have you started thinking about what your goals are for next year for your dog? And if you have, and you have some ideas of what you want to do with your dog, please go ahead and post them. Let me know what your goals are. Even if you've just said, you know, I'm really thinking about X. I haven't really decided what that really means and what that's all going to entail, but I really want to accomplish X with my dog next year. And it could be pretty general, and that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight, is how do we go from generalities to very specifics to getting our goals actually getting them accomplished. So let me know that you're here live tonight. I really love when you guys are here live. We have that live interaction going on. But if you can't make it, I know that some of you either are teaching or you're working, you have other obligations. So if you come back and watch on the replay, let me know that you are back on the replay and share what your goals are for 2020. So let's get started. We are going to be, the first thing that I want to be really talking about is when we're thinking about goals for our dogs and how are we going to narrow those down and how are we going to get those achieved. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming because we say to ourselves, you know, like I I don't know what my goals are going to be. I have an idea. I have an idea in mind of some things that I want to do, but it's not very specific. So I probably can't do it because it's not specific enough. That's okay. The very first thing that we need to do is get our thoughts down, get our thoughts from here to writing them down. So we can start with, and I do this a lot, whether it's my fitness goals for Ziva or for Patelli, or my business goals or my personal goals for myself, for my own self-care type thing. I will start with generalities, and I will take some paper or I'll type it out. I usually write them out because it's easier for me, and I tend to brainstorm better that way if I'm actually writing things out. But I will write them down, and I'm not very specific about it. I'm just writing down all these things that come to me and that fit under the canine fitness category, that fit under the business category, that fit under the personal category. And I'm just writing things down just as they come to me. I'm not very specific about it. It might not even make a lot of sense at the time when I'm writing them down, but I'm getting them from here, where they're just going to sit there and they're going to get lost with all the other thoughts that we have going on in our head, with all the other things that we have going on during the day, every single day. We need to get them from here to here. So writing them down, brainstorming. Don't worry about whether it's very specific or whether it makes a lot of sense. The idea is that you get them from here to here, right? That's the very first thing that we want to do, is just start writing things down that we want to accomplish with our dogs from a canine fitness standpoint for next year. At that point, we then will take what we've written down, and then we will start getting specific. But if we ask ourselves and force ourselves to be really specific in the beginning, a lot of times we just get overwhelmed, and we just say, you know what, I don't know. I don't know what I want specifically for a goal for my dog right at this very moment. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to write it down. I'm not even going to think about it because it's too overwhelming, because I'm not really sure what the specific goal is. I don't know how to get there. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. I don't know what the time frame is. That's not the very first thing that you want to do. Once you've brainstormed and you've just started writing things down, now you can take a look at that list, and now you can start narrowing things down. So we're going from here, and we're just going to start narrowing it down and getting more and more specific within that particular goal. So let's say, for example, the goal is I want to do an event, some type of running event, walking event with my dog this summer. That's pretty general. That's kind of brainstorming. I want to be able to do an event with my dog where I can take my dog and people are running, walking. I want to be able to do an event. So there's our brainstorming. There's our general. So now we're going to say, okay, how can we get that more specific? I want to do a 5K. I want to do a 5K with my dog. Okay, that's a little bit more specific. Can we get that even more specific so that we can really tailor a fitness program, an exercise program for that very specific goal? So we've gone from, I want to do an event, I want to do a 5K. Now maybe we go even a step further and say, I want to be able to do a 5K with my dog in under 45 minutes or under 40 minutes or whatever your time frame is. So now you have a very specific goal that you want to do, and how are you going to prep your dog for that particular goal to be able to do a 5K with your dog in under 45 minutes? That's pretty specific. So when I talk about going from generalities to specifics, that's what I'm talking about. Start with your brainstorming. You're just throwing out ideas. You're writing them down. You're then going to take those ideas and you're going to break them down and get more and more and more specific. So Charlie says, who's the dog behind you? Oh, you know what? That is, let me just take this off. That is a picture of Ziva that my friend Reagan painted for me. It's Ziva with her ball. You can't really see the ball. There it is right there. But yeah, that is Miss Ziva on a painting that she did. So I know, isn't that beautiful? It was a super, super beautiful gift. She's very, very talented. And she's in this group. So if you guys want a painting, get with her. She's awesome. Obviously, you can see how amazing she is. Okay, so we've now gotten very specific in what our goal is. So the other thing that we want to do is we want to be realistic about what those goals are. So if we say to ourselves, I want my dog to, so our general goal was, I want my dog to be in better shape. Okay, what does that mean? That means that my dog needs to lose 10 pounds. Okay, that's a little bit more specific. I want my dog to lose 10 pounds in 2 months. That's probably not realistic because that's too fast of a weight loss for dogs to do. So that would be an unrealistic goal to ask your dog to lose 10 pounds in 2 months. So let's say that we're going to have a goal of, let's go back to the 5K race. I want to do a 5K with my dog in under 45 minutes. And I haven't really done a whole lot of running or anything with my dog, but there's this really fun race that I want to do the beginning of March or the end of March. Might not be the most realistic goal. It might be too short of a time frame, depending on the condition of your dog, depending on the age of your dog, depending on how much endurance and cardiovascular type exercises has your dog already done. So you have to look at the dog in front of you. Where is your dog in a physical condition and a fitness condition standpoint? And what is the age of your dog? Is your dog even at the appropriate age to do things? So for me to say, hey, I want to do a 5K at the end of the summer or this fall, let's say this fall when it gets cooler, I want to do a 5K with Bocelli in October. Well, that's 10 months. So, okay, could I get a dog ready for a 5K in 10 months? Sure. But could I do it with a young dog that the growth plates aren't closed yet? No, that would not be a realistic goal. Let's say you want to work on increasing the speed of your weave pulls for agility and the overall time for your agility runs. Okay, but weave pulls is your weak point, so you want to increase the time of your weave pulls. And you want to do it in a 4-month period of time. You have a competition coming up in May. You want by the beginning or middle of April to really have that goal, maybe say the beginning of April to have that goal solidified because you have a competition in May. And your dog's been doing agility. So 4 months, could that be a reasonable time frame? Could be. Now let's add into the equation that you're working 5 to 6 days a week. You have 2 kids and your kids have after school sport activities 3 days a week. Is that still a realistic goal to be able to get that goal accomplished within a 4-month period of time with the time factor that you have with your schedule? So we're not even looking at the time factor for the dog. Now we have to look at the time factor for you. Do you have the time to devote in the amount of time that you thought was appropriate for the dog? And maybe it was, but do you have the time to devote to get that goal accomplished? Because what can happen is we can look at one aspect of goal setting and we can say, look, my dog is 3 years old, growth plates are closed, he's been doing agility for a couple of years, and he's doing really well. We just really want to increase that time on the weave pulls. Is 4 months enough time to do that? Probably. That's a realistic part. But if we only look at the goal setting for the dog and we don't look at our own schedule and our own abilities to be able to carry that out, we're not going to achieve our goal. And then we're just going to get frustrated and we're just going to say, see, I couldn't do it. And then we're all the way back to the whole New Year's resolutions that don't ever get accomplished, right? Okay. So Kate says, oh, hey, Kate, nice to see you. Specifics really help when trying to create a fitness plan. Absolutely. They help with so many different things, but with the fitness plan, we have to get so specific in what our goals are. Otherwise, we don't know what we want to do. We don't know what our time frame is, and we don't know what we want to do to be able to achieve that goal. What are the exercises? What's the plan? What's the plan and the outerlying activities that we need to do to accomplish that plan? So, and the other thing that we have to remember is fitness is not just, and goal setting is not just for our sport and working dogs. It's really critical for our sport and working dogs for obvious reasons. It's really important for our very, very high active, super crazy companion dogs that aren't participating in the sport, aren't working dogs, they're not patrol dogs, they're not detection dogs, they're not search and rescue dogs, but these are crazy, crazy companion dogs that obviously need a fitness plan because they're doing all of this crazy stuff, jumping for frisbees, jumping into the lake, right? Duck diving for fun, running and playing with other dogs. These are high active companion dogs that clearly need a fitness plan and need to be able to stay in shape. But what about that pet dog that you have that you take for a walk a few times a week and snuggles with you on the couch every single night when you're watching TV? Does that dog need to have goal setting? Well, of course it does. And I would sooner argue that that dog needs it just as much, sometimes even more, than some of these dogs that are very active, because they are very active. They are using those muscles. They are extending those flexing those muscles and using the different structures in the body. They are actively using muscles and getting stronger and getting better just by nature of the activities that they're doing, right? So we want specific exercises to help them get stronger and better. But dogs that move, obviously, just like people who move, are in a little bit better condition than people or dogs who are sedentary. So if we have a pet dog that isn't as active, that dog actually can be more susceptible to a potential injury sometimes than our really active dogs. So, and I'll give you an example. I have a friend of mine's dog who he's like 5, 6, not that old. He is a sort of active dog. He's not super active. He's not involved in any sports. He's not a working dog. He's not a high active companion dog, but he's not a sloucher either, but he kind of just hangs out a lot of the time, but he has some other dogs in the house to play with. He just got diagnosed with a CCL injury, and a pretty severe one, and he has to have surgery. However, because he's so overweight, he can't have the surgery. So how are we going to get this dog to lose weight so he can have the surgery? Because he has this torn CCL in his knee, so walking and running is not an option. So if that dog had been on even a basic fitness plan, he wouldn't be as overweight or not overweight at all. He may not have even have torn his CCL to begin with, but if he did even slightly, because he's in better shape, if he did have to have surgery, he's going to recover faster, right? So even for our pet dogs, we need to have some type of fitness plan, some type of fitness goals for these dogs to help keep them healthy and safe. Because if they're not moving, they have their much more potential for an injury. So don't think, there's plenty of people in this group, and I know that you guys know a lot of people that are not in this group that have pet dogs that are not super active. Those dogs need to have some type of goal setting for fitness. We need to get them moving. We need to get some muscle strengthening. We need to be able to support those joints, because those dogs are going to be senior dogs at some point. All of our dogs are going to move into their senior years. We can't stop that. We want them to move into their senior years and to live as gracefully as possible and as healthy as possible. And we want them having fun and moving until that very last day. right? We don't want them having trouble walking. We don't want them having joint issues. We don't want them having muscle weakness, although some of that's just going to come with the aging process. But the better that the condition is that the dog is in when they're younger, the better they can handle their senior years. And isn't that what we want for them? I mean, of course it is. Okay, so back to our fitness plan and achieving our goals. So how many times, let me ask you this. How many times have you set a goal and you've said, okay, I have 3 months. And you're like, oh my gosh, I only have 3 months. If you set this goal early on, you said at let's say Thanksgiving, that starting on January 1, I want to do X. Okay, cool. I have my goal. It's going to take me 3 months to do it. I have goal X already set. Look at, I'm ahead of the game. It's only Thanksgiving. I already have my goal set. I'm going to start January 1. December 25th, December 26th, December 27th comes. You've done nothing to prep for it. All of a sudden, you're like, oh my gosh, I only have 3 months to get this goal. I'm not even really sure what I'm going to do yet. I need to get started on this. January 1 comes. What are you going to do? You're going to rush through it. You're going to rush through it because you only have 3 months and we didn't figure out what your end goal is going to be and exactly how long it's going to take. And was 3 months really the proper length of time for you to reach that goal? So when we make a plan of action from day 1 to the end date, we tend to rush things because we're so excited. We're either rushed to get the goal started or we're really excited about the fact that we've set this goal and we have a plan. We tend to rush and move things along too quickly. And when we do that with our dogs and we do that with their fitness plan, and obviously we know when we do it with just regular training, we're going to push the dog too fast and we're potentially going to create an injury. So what's the answer? If we can't start from day 1 and work our way to the end, what do? So for me and for a number of people that I work with for clients, this is how I do it. I back chain it. So I start from the very end. What's my end specific goal? Where do I want to be in 5 months? Let's say my goal is 5 months. Where do I want to be? Let's say it's January 1. I have a 55, 60 pound dog. I want that dog to lose 10 pounds. I've talked to my vet. The safe way for my dog to lose weight is to lose, because it's 50 to 60 pounds, it's 2 to 3% of the body weight per month. So my dog should lose 2 to 2.5 pounds per month. I will have a total of 10 pounds. Therefore, I need 5 months. So at the end of 5 months, I want my dog to have lost 10 pounds. So now I can say, okay, May 31st, my dog will be 10 pounds lighter. And my dog's going to lose 2 pounds a month. So at the middle of May, my dog will be 1 pound short of its goal. At May 1st, my dog will be 2 pounds shy of its goal. And you're just going to back chain it. So that's the first part of your goal setting. It's not necessarily the actual specifics, but what are the milestones that you want to see from the end goal all the way back to the beginning? And did that give you enough time to reach those milestones? Did you set your goal too short, your time frame, or did you maybe set it too long and you can cut a month out? Okay, so set your milestones on what you want to see from your dog. I like to set them every couple of weeks, because if I go a whole month and I still haven't seen the goal, I could have tweaked my plan if I tracked it at 2-week intervals. But if I track it at 30-day intervals, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I could have tweaked this a week or 2 ago and I might have made a little bit more progress, because maybe I wasn't quite, my plan wasn't quite where I wanted it to be, where I thought it was going to be. And so I should have tweaked it at 2 weeks instead of tweaking it at a month. So I like to go every 2 weeks, but everybody's different. You have to go with what you feel comfortable and maybe what your plan designates. So Tom says, oh, hey, Pam, glad to have you here. Tom says, not just the dog, have to make sure your body is ready also. Absolutely. So I know Tom struggles with back issues. I've got back issues. I know a number of you guys have back issues. I still have 3 herniated discs in my back. There are days where I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I can go out there and run with my knees. You know, I'm still having some issues from my knee surgery from when Ziva tore my ACL and my MCL a few years ago. And my own fault, not her fault. It's my fault for not, keeping up with the program. So there's my goal setting, right? So I have a goal of doing the U.S. Canine Biathlon in Alabama in May. And I don't know if physically, if I'm going to be able to do it. I know she's going to be able to do it, but I have to now, I'm working on my goal, working backwards. I'm back chaining. What do I need to do to get my dog ready? And what do I need to do to get myself ready? And I'm very realistic about it. I might not make it. I know that going in just because of my health issues, not because of my dog, but I'm still going to make it a goal. And if nothing else happens, if I don't end up going, I at the very least will have gotten myself in better condition so that I can do more fun things with my dog and not have my body break down. So maybe I don't make it to the US Canine Biathlon, which is a pretty big event. It's 4 miles, it's 80 obstacles. If you didn't see the video, check it out. It's like a week ago I posted it, but you can also just go onto the Facebook page, US Canine Biathlon. It's going to be amazing, and I'm really hoping to go. But I know there's a realistic standpoint that I have to look at, considering I have 3 herniated discs and I'm still working on my knee injury. So, but my end goal is, my ultimate end goal is to go to that. My secondary, for me, I have a secondary goal, is to get myself in good enough shape that I can do multiple canicross runs with my dog and not suffer the consequences for it from a physical standpoint. So even if I don't make it to the US Canine Biathlon, I know that all the work that I'm going to be doing for this goal setting program, I know I'm going to get in much better shape so that I can do more stuff with my dog. So that's one of the goals that I have for myself. And then I have the joint one for Ziva and I to go down there together. So when we're back chaining it, so we talked about just setting the various milestones. Then we have to say to ourselves, okay, we have a goal with this particular situation. We said lose 10 pounds in 5 months. We've gotten our milestones. Where should we be at 2-week intervals? Where should our dog be, I should say, at 2-week intervals? How are we going to get there? How are we going to get this dog to lose that weight? Where do we want to be with our dog at the end of May? So let's say our goal is, I want to be brisk walking or running with my dog 3 miles 3 times a week or 4 times a week. And maybe twice a week, once or twice a week, I'm brisk walking 2 miles. That's where I want to be at the end of May. We have 5 days that we're going to be either brisk walking or running with our dog, whatever you choose. And we're going to do 3 miles. Maybe it's going to be a 5-mile goal on 3 of those days, maybe 2 or 3 mile on 2 or 3 of those days. Whatever that is, that's your starting point at the end of your goal. Now, 2 weeks prior to that, or 1 month prior to that, where should you be as far as your endurance standpoint? How far should you be doing your brisk walks? How many days a week will you be doing? And then another 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks until you're all the way back to January 1. Then we also have to say to ourselves, well, it's not just going to be an endurance program. I want to help tighten up and build some of the muscle tone. So I'm going to do these 3 specific core exercises. And this is where I want to be. This is how many reps and how many sets and how many days a week I want to do these core exercises and these rear end strengthening exercises and these front end strengthening exercises, because it's not just going to be an endurance program that's going to help our dog lose weight. There's going to have to be a balanced program. We're going to have to throw some strength training in there. throw some balance training in there. What am I going to do for balance? Okay, so there's all kinds of parks that we can go to, and we can have our dogs climbing over things on the trails. We can have them climbing up onto the kids' playground equipment. Like, there's a lot of different things that we can do for balance. But you're going to say to yourself, how many sets, how many days, how many sets, how many reps do I want to do with this particular, these core exercises, these rear end strength exercises, these front end strength exercises, these flexibility exercises? Where do I want to be at the very end? And then how am I going to backtrack that all the way back to January 1? And when you look at that, when you look at backing it all the way up to the beginning, and you can look at it and go, oh, I think I need more time. I think I'm pushing my dog a little bit. I think that's too much. I'm going to add another month. Or maybe I'm going to take an extra day out of the endurance. Maybe that's too much early on in the program. Maybe I shouldn't be doing 3 days a week of 5 miles. Maybe I should be doing 3 days a week of 1 mile, even by the end of February. Right? So you're going to look at the whole thing overall once it's done, and you're going to just take a glance at it from the end all the way back to the beginning. You're not going to look from the beginning to the end. You're going to look from the end back to the beginning for dogs. Okay? So back chaining is really, really helpful when we are looking at setting our goals and what specifically do we need in order to achieve those goals. It's the safest way to keep our dogs from being injured. Because again, if we start at the beginning, we're so excited about getting into this program and getting our goals started that we tend to rush things. We push our dogs, we stretch our dogs too much. I mean, yes, we want to stretch them, but we want to do it safely, right? So back chaining is a great way to make sure that we still get the stuff done that we want to get done, but we have analyzed the program, we've analyzed the time frame, and we've said, yep, this is a safe program for my dog. The other thing that I like to do is I like midpoint celebrations. So, and maybe yours is at midpoint, maybe yours is a third of the way through or a quarter of the way through. But at some point within the goal setting program, I like to have little mini celebrations. So I've gone in my 6-month program, I've gone 3 months and I've stuck to it. And I've been able to see some progress with my dog. And I'm going to find a way to celebrate that. Maybe that's the night that you and your dog get steak for dinner, right? Maybe your dog gets a new toy and you get a new toy, right? Or maybe you get a glass of wine and your dog gets a new toy. Something that it's just a small little thing, just something for you to go, yep, I did it. I'm on the right track. I've stuck to it. I can see the results in my dog. And sometimes that's enough celebration for many of us. It's just when we can see the results in our dog, even when it's small, and we know that the program that we've set up is working. Oh my gosh, sometimes that's enough of a celebration, just on our own. So when we are kind of going back to the, I forgot to say something about when we were talking about our non-working and non-sporting dogs, and we were talking about the companion dogs and the pet dogs for setting up goal setting. A lot of people will say and have said to me, my dog doesn't do a sport. My dog doesn't play Frisbee. I have no idea what I even would think about for a goal. So maybe I agree with you, like not maybe, but I do agree with you that I should do something, but my dog's not active. Like I don't even know what to set for a goal. What I tell people, and this is where some of these midpoint celebrations can really, really come into play. What I tell people is, especially those that for pet dogs, your lower active pet dogs, your senior dogs, your dogs that aren't involved in other things. When your dog's out in the backyard, when your dog is playing with another dog, when your dog is just at liberty in the backyard, sniffing, just being a dog, when you're at the park with your dog, I want you to really just watch your dog. I want you to watch your dog move. I want you to watch them walk. I want you to watch them play. I want you to watch and find what brings joy to your dog? And a lot of times when you make that connection with your dog and you're watching them walking and you're watching them playing and you're watching them be really joyful and sniffing, or all of a sudden a leaf started blowing, I can tell you one thing, when leaves start blowing at my house, my dogs are moving. Like they're chasing those leaves. So sometimes we have these pet dogs they have that tap into that prey drive, and the leaves start moving, or they pick up a stick and they're all joyful and they start throwing it. And we say to ourselves, maybe my dog would like to play with a Frisbee. Maybe my dog would like to play with a toy. Maybe my dog would like to play with a ball. Maybe my dog would like to do nose work. Or I see my dog really happy when we're going for a walk. So maybe I should start hiking with my dog. So when you start really making that connection and just watching your pet dog, and you really make that connection and you really see what brings joy to your dog, you can really start thinking in those generalities about, hey, maybe I should work on walking my dog more. Or, I can't really feel my dog's ribs. I'm watching them and I don't really see a waistline there. Maybe I should work on a weight loss program for my dog. This is a great way to first decide what you want to do, but then when you're in the midst of it, especially for people like that who didn't think that they could even come up with a goal to begin with, when you start seeing the progress on those every third of the way through, halfway through, and you have those midpoint celebrations, that they're so meaningful. Brings you so much joy to know that you've stuck to your program and you're seeing the results. So I think midpoint celebrations are really, really important. They don't have to be big, but you have to recognize that you have stuck to it and your dog is doing well and you're recognizing the results that your dog is doing. So I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody's comments here. Okay, so that's our midpoint celebration. So another thing that can help keep our goals going and keep us motivated and help us achieve these goals is creating a vision board. But it's not just like your typical vision board. I like using photos of my dog or photos of of my dog doing the exercises that I've set up for the plan. Or maybe I've set up a timeline chart and I'm ticking off on the vision board as we are making it through towards the end of our goal. Or maybe I have a photo of where I want my dog to be. Maybe it's not my dog performing that particular activity, but maybe it's another dog performing it. And that's the picture for now until my dog is performing it like that. And then I can replace it with my dog. So the more personal you can make it with your items, with your photos, with your ideas, and it doesn't always have to be photos. So let's say, for example, you have a weight loss goal for your dog, and it's a 10-pound, and you're halfway through the program, and the harness that you have is huge for your dog now, or the collar is now too big for your dog. Now, could you tighten it? Sure, but couldn't your midpoint celebration be to take that collar off, hang it up on your vision board, and go get your dog a new collar, right? So these little incentives that we can do when we personalize it can make such a big difference when we are setting our goals, because they were our own personal achievements that we're looking at up at our vision boards. So it's not just pictures that we cut out of a magazine or sayings that we printed off of on the internet or pictures we printed off on the internet. These are actual personal things that have meaning to us. So as we're looking at that vision board, we can say, you know what? Yes, like there's my dog's collar that he used to wear, and now it's too big, so I had to go get him a new collar. Or maybe the goal for doing your 5K run in under 40 minutes, and while you were tying your shoes, your shoelace broke. So now that broken shoelace goes up on your vision board. as a reminder that you have been out there running with your dog so much that your shoelace broke and you're achieving your goals. So the vision board with your personal items can really, really help with your motivation. Okay, so obviously at the very end, we have our final celebration. But here's the thing. Don't wait until the very end to say, oh my gosh, we did it, we did it, we did it. Like that celebration is great, but a lot of times we want to have something else, something really special. It's kind of like going to Dairy Queen as our special treat, right? So what for the kids? Okay, so maybe for us too. And maybe our dogs like it too. Like my dogs love Dairy Queen. So I'll include me and the dogs in that too, not just the kids. So, but maybe a lot of times what we do is we wait until the very end and then we say, okay, well, how are we going to celebrate? I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, I don't know. And then the whole idea of the celebration kind of just fizzles away because we don't really know what we wanted to do to celebrate. Like we celebrated, it's great that we achieved our goal, and our goal was that our dog lost 10 pounds, and our goal was that we're going to run the 5K in under 40 minutes. Our goal is that our dog is going to clear the 1 meter jump for the IGP obedience routine and clear sailing it, not just barely making it over the meter jump, but clear sailing it with really good form, right? Like that celebration, of course. But a lot of times when we have something else that we're going to look forward, that we're going to celebrate the fact that we reached that goal. But if we wait until the very end to try to decide what that celebration is going to be, sometimes by the time we really start thinking about it, we're like, I don't really know. Well, we don't have to do anything. There's no celebration. It's all fizzled out. So I like to figure out, what am I going to celebrate? How am I going to celebrate? At the very end, I want to know early on. So if I have a 5-month program, by the end of the second month, I want to know what I'm working for, other than achieving my goal. So let's say you have a goal of the 5K in under 40 minutes. Your goal, your celebration is your dog's going to get a new running harness. You're going to get a new pair of running shoes. Let's say the goal was you want your dog to be able to clear that 1 meter jump for the obedience routine in IGP, clear sailing, good form, be strong enough, super good core, really good endurance, really good rear end strength as they're pushing off. You know they have really good shoulder strength as they're landing. They go to pick up the dumbbell, they come back, they have this beautiful front. Maybe your celebration, you know early on that you get to look forward to, is you get a new trial lead. Maybe your dog gets a new Fur Saver collar just for the trial, and it's a really nice one. It's a little bit more expensive one. So you have something to look forward to at the end. Like you already know, in addition to your fitness goal, you know this extra celebration that you are now working towards. That's an extra special incentive to get that done. But you've already picked it out early on. So like in your head, you can see that trial lead. In your head, you can see that new pair of running shoes. In your head, you can see that nice new running harness for your dog. It's a visual. It's there. You know what you're working towards. And so when you get to the end and you've achieved your goal, you're like, awesome. I've really been wanting that trial lead. I've been wanting that really nice leather trial lead for so long. And this was my way of saying, good job. We did it. And this is my celebration. I'm going to go get that trial lead. So I think it's really important to not wait until the very end and say, oh, how do you want to celebrate? Oh, I don't know. Well, we'll figure it out later. And then you never do. You never end up celebrating all the hard work that you and your dog did. So I think that's really important. It's not just the fact that you achieved it, which is, of course, an awesome thing, right? And that's a celebration in and of itself. But I think a lot of times we need something else. We need something to be looking forward to. So if you figure that out early on, you're like, oh, my dog's going to look so awesome in that really new running harness. I'm super excited about how that's going to fit and how my dog's going to feel running with that new harness. Complete range of motion, open range of motion. We're just going to sail through this 5K, right? So I think that's really important to help keep things motivated during what sometimes can be a challenging goal to keep going, right? Because life happens, but if we have something that we know in addition to the goal itself, we have something that we can look forward to. And even sometimes at the midpoint, I think that really helps us being able to achieve those goals, keep going with them, and not give up on them. Because we've got something at the end that it's not just achieving the goal, but we've got something extra special that we're working towards. So, our dogs depend on us to keep them healthy. From a nutritional, they depend on us to feed them a good nutritional diet. They depend on us to take care of us from a medical standpoint, from a mental stimulation standpoint with training and obedience and learning and the different activities that we do with them. But they also depend on us to take care of them from a fitness standpoint. They can't do it by themselves. If we don't do any of it, they're not going to come to us and throw a program and grab a fit disc, say, hey, we're supposed to be doing our fitness exercises. I want to be in good shape when I turn 9 years old. Like, that's not obviously going to happen. We have to take these extra steps and set our dogs up to succeed from a physical fitness standpoint, as well as from our mental standpoint and our nutritional standpoint. We got these dogs. It's our responsibility to make sure that they stay safe, that they are in good health, and that they move into those senior years gracefully, and that they're being able to do all of the fun things that they want to be able to do as they move into their senior years. So I am really looking forward to hearing what your general goals, or if you're struggling, you're like, I'm not really sure. I don't really know what to set. Put that down there too. I'm going to put up a post. It's going to be 2020 canine fitness goals. Underneath that post, I want you guys to start putting down, even if you're like, this is what you use for your brainstorming. Just start brainstorming and just figure out what are some of the big general type of goals that you want, and how can you start narrowing those down to be much more specific in setting up your goal plan. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Of course, if you need some one-on-one help, if you need some more specific help, I have a number of different programs. I have my virtual coaching programs. I have my face-to-face programs. And just so that you guys know, it hasn't been announced yet. You guys are the only ones that know about it right now. It's probably going to be announced tomorrow is what my plan is. But for New Year's Day, up until 11:59 on New Year's Day, 30% off the virtual coaching program. So if you missed out on that 50% off Christmas Day sale, you still have another chance at a pretty good sale, 30% off. So either virtual coaching or the face-to-face. There's a number of people that are in the group that have done the virtual coaching. So if you've done the program, throw a comment out there as to how successful you guys were with it. We had a lot of fun with it. Your dogs made a lot of progress in those programs. So if you need some help, if you don't want to go it alone and you want some help and you want some face-to-face, you want some one-on-one help with that, just get with me, send me a Facebook message, send me an email, and we'll talk about the different programs. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful New Year's Eve. Please be safe if you're going to be out and about, drinking and driving. Get your butts home safely for you, for your family, for your dogs, and enjoy your New Year's Day. And I can't wait to start the whole new year helping you guys achieve your goals. Have a really great night. Happy New Year, you guys. Bye-bye.